It's funny. Meditation. It's everywhere these days.
It really is.
You see it on apps, hear about these retreats.
Yeah.
You might even have like meditation rooms at work.
I know, right?
It's like it's a cure for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But is it really, though? I mean, is it really all it's cracked up to be?
Right.
That's kind of what I want to dive into today. You sent over a stack of sources about meditation, and I have to admit I'm a little skeptical.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's dive in and see if this ancient practice really lives up to the hype, the modern hype.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about the sources that you sent over is that they don't just tell us what meditation is.
Right.
They kind of dig into this paradox of WHY, it's so tricky to actually achieve.
Right.
And what that difficulty reveals about us humans.
Yeah, and like in this Rajneesh lecture, he points out that tons of people are interested in meditation, but very few are actually transformed by it.
Right.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think that gets to the heart of why meditation is so appealing and so challenging at the same time.
Yep.
It's not just a way to relax or de-stress.
Yeah.
It's this deep internal exploration that really challenges our sense of self, who we think we are.
Right.
And that can be pretty unsettling, for a lot of us.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like he's saying we might be secretly afraid of what meditation might reveal.
Yeah.
He even compares it to like a fear of death.
It is a powerful analogy. He's talking about the death of the ego, that constructed identity we've built up over time.
Yeah.
And letting go of that, it can feel like a profound loss.
Right.
And naturally, most of us resist that.
So if we're all like subconsciously afraid of this ego death, how can we even approach meditation honestly?
Yeah.
How do we know if we're just going through the motions without really engaging?
Well, that's where his concept of the cunning mind comes in.
Yeah.
He's really pointing to that part of us that wants to stay comfortable, wants to avoid discomfort, and essentially trick ourselves into thinking we're doing the work when we're really just maintaining the status quo.
Right.
He has this hilarious story about a man who rushes into the post office.
Oh, yeah.
Frantic because his wife is missing.
Oh, I remember this one.
The postmaster suggests calling the police.
Yeah.
But the man adamantly refuses.
He's like, no.
Says he's not going to be caught again.
Oh, my God.
Turns out the police found his wife the last time she disappeared.
Right.
And he wants no part in that.
Yeah. It's like he's so afraid of what finding his wife might mean.
Exactly.
Maybe confronting some uncomfortable truths about their relationship.
Totally.
That he would rather just have her stay lost.
Right. It's a brilliant, albeit kind of disturbing illustration of how we can go through the motions.
Yeah.
Even convincing ourselves that we're doing it right without truly engaging in the deeper work.
Yeah.
We might sit and meditate. But are we really confronting those ingrained patterns?
Okay.
Those fears and defenses that the cunning mind throws up?
So how do we know? How do we know if we're falling into that trap?
Yeah.
Is there a way to distinguish between genuine meditation and, I guess what he's calling this kind of self-deception?
Well, he makes an interesting distinction between meditation and prayer.
Yes. I was curious about that too. What does he see as the key difference?
Well, prayer often focuses on asking an external force for something, for things to change outside of ourselves. Meditation, on the other hand, is about turning inward. Confronting those patterns within us that cause suffering and ultimately changing ourselves.
So it's not about passively hoping for a better situation?
No.
But actively taking responsibility for our own, inner state?
Exactly. It's about becoming aware of those ingrained habits and beliefs that keep us stuck. It's like that story he tells about the infant and the mother's breast.
That one really stuck with me. What do you think he's trying to convey with that image?
Well, I think it speaks to how we're conditioned from such a young age to seek fulfillment outside of ourselves.
Oh.
The breast in this context becomes a symbol for all the things we chase in life.
Right.
Money, success, relationships, believing they'll finally bring us lasting happiness.
So we're constantly searching for that magic bullet out there in the world.
Yeah.
Instead of recognizing that true fulfillment might actually come from within.
Precisely. We get so caught up in chasing external validation, chasing that next achievement, that we miss the opportunity to cultivate the source of true peace and happiness within ourselves.
This makes me wonder, if we're all conditioned to look outwards,
Yeah.
does meditation require us to unlearn all that and essentially become like children again?
It's an intriguing idea, isn't it? There's a lot we can learn from the way children experience the world.
Right.
That sense of wonder, that openness, that pure beingness.
Yeah.
Meditation isn't about literally becoming children again.
Right.
But it does invite us to rediscover that unburdened, unconditioned part of ourselves.
Okay, I'm starting to see the paradox here.
Mm-hmm.
It's about letting go of our ego, our attachments.
Mm-hmm.
Yet at the same time, it's about reclaiming this essential part of ourselves that's always been there.
Exactly. It's about stripping away the layers of conditioning and rediscovering that inner core of peace and clarity.
Yeah.
It's often obscured by the chaos of our thoughts and desires.
This all makes sense, but it also feels incredibly challenging.
It is.
If meditation is about cultivating this inner awareness,
Mm-hmm.
how does that translate into concrete action? How does it impact the way we interact with the world around us?
Well, I think it shows up in how we relate to others,
Okay.
how we make decisions,
Right.
how we approach our work and our passions. It's about bringing that same sense of presence and awareness to everything we do.
So it's not about like retreating from the world,
Right.
but about engaging with it in a more conscious and mindful way.
Exactly. It's about bringing that inner stillness and clarity into the dynamism of life. You know, this reminds me of that Rajneesh story about the schoolhouse fire.
Oh, you mean the one where the teacher, Mullah Nasruddin, is just calmly praying while the building burns down around him?
That's the one. And when people ask why he's not doing anything to help, he says, I am doing something. I'm praying.
I know.
Yeah.
It's such a funny image. But it also highlights that tendency we have to think we're doing the work when we're really just avoiding the actual effort required. What do you think he's getting at there?
Yeah, he's showing us how we can use rituals or even good intentions as a way to outsource responsibility,
Okay.
to hope that some external force will come and fix things for us.
So meditation, in contrast to that, like passive prayer, is about taking ownership, about becoming aware of our own inner fire, so to speak, rather than waiting for an external force to put it out.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that the transformation we seek starts within us. It's about cultivating the inner strength and clarity to face our own fears and limitations, rather than projecting them outward.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're all so conditioned to seek external solutions, how do we even begin to access this inner wisdom? How do we tap into that deeper source of truth?
Well, he describes meditation as a process of uncovering,
Okay.
like finding a diamond buried beneath piles of rubbish.
Wow.
And he suggests that we're all born with this innate capacity for meditation, for experiencing this inner peace and stillness. It's not about acquiring something new,
Yeah.
but about rediscovering something we already possess.
So meditation is essentially about peeling back those layers of conditioning, all those societal expectations, fears, and desires that have accumulated over time. It's about reconnecting with that pure, essential self.
Yes. And it's a beautiful process because it reminds us that beneath all the noise and distractions, that core of peace and wisdom is still there. It's waiting for us to uncover it.
This makes me think of that beautiful image he uses about looking into a child's eyes and seeing that pure innocence, that untainted awareness.
Exactly. He's pointing to that sense of wonder and awe that we often lose as we get older. Meditation invites us to reconnect with that childlike sense of presence, to experience the world with fresh eyes.
I'm hearing that it's not about literally becoming a child again,
Right.
but about tapping into that innate capacity for being present and experiencing the beauty in even the simplest things.
Precisely. And in a world that's constantly telling us to look outside ourselves for validation and fulfillment, turning inward can feel like a radical act.
It is a radical act.
Yeah.
And it takes courage to step off that well-worn path of external seeking and embark on this inner exploration. You've talked about how meditation helps us connect with this pure longing that he describes, but what does that actually look like in everyday life?
It's about approaching life with a deep awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. It's about responding to situations, rather than simply reacting based on our old patterns and conditioning.
So it's not about suppressing our emotions
Right.
or becoming some detached observer,
Right.
but about cultivating the ability to choose our responses with greater awareness and intention.
You got it. It's about developing a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world, so that we can move through life with greater clarity, compassion, and purpose.
This makes me think of his story about the man whose wife keeps going missing. it's a funny story, but it also highlights how we can get so caught up in our own patterns, our own fears, that we miss what's right in front of us.
Yeah, it's a great example of how our minds can create such elaborate narratives, such intricate defenses, that we become blind to the reality of our situation.
So meditation helps us to wake up from that dream, to see things more clearly without those filters of fear and conditioning.
That's a great way to put it. And that clarity allows us to respond to life's challenges with more wisdom and effectiveness.
Okay, all of this is really resonating with me. But I have to ask, how do we cultivate that kind of awareness amidst the busyness and distractions of everyday life? It feels like a constant battle to stay present, to not get swept away by all the demands and expectations.
It is a practice.
Yeah.
It requires commitment and discipline.
Right.
But it also requires self-compassion. Remember that story about the child reaching for the mother's breast? That longing, that desire to connect, to find fulfillment, it's a natural part of being human.
It seems like what he's saying is that it's not about suppressing those desires, but about understanding them, about seeing them with clarity and compassion.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that those desires are often driven by a deeper longing for love, for connection, for wholeness. And meditation helps us tap into that source of wholeness that's already within us.
Instead of always looking for it outside ourselves.
Exactly. And as we start to experience that inner fullness, that sense of peace and contentment, it naturally spills over into how we interact with the world around us.
So meditation isn't just about personal transformation.
No.
But about cultivating a more compassionate and connected way of being in the world.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness, our shared humanity, and acting from a place of love and understanding.
That's a beautiful idea. But it also raises a question for me. If meditation is about transcending the ego, about letting go of attachments to external validation and achievement, how does that impact our motivation to create and contribute in the world? Does it make us less ambitious?
That's a great question. It's not about becoming inactive or disengaged. It's about shifting our motivation from a place of ego-driven striving to a place of genuine service and contribution.
So instead of being driven by a need to prove ourselves or achieve some external measure of success, we're acting from a place of inner alignment and purpose. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly it. It's about aligning our actions with our values, with what truly matters to us deep down. And that kind of alignment can be incredibly powerful because it's not fueled by fear or insecurity, but by a deep sense of purpose and meaning.
This makes me think of the story he tells about the man who's obsessed with accumulating wealth and possessions, even though it brings him no real happiness. It's like we can get so caught up in the pursuit of external goals that we lose sight of what truly matters.
It's a common trap. We get so focused on external validation and achievements that we forget about cultivating that inner sense of peace and connection, which is where true fulfillment lies.
So it's not about giving up on our goals or ambitions, but about shifting our motivation, about aligning our actions with our deepest values and aspirations.
You've got it. And when we do that, our work becomes an expression of our true selves, rather than just a means to an end.
That's inspiring, but also a little daunting. How do we stay committed to this path, especially when things get challenging or we face setbacks?
That's where the practice of self-compassion comes in. It's about recognizing that we're all on this journey together, and that it's okay to make mistakes, to stumble, to have moments of doubt.
So it's not about striving for perfection, but about embracing the messy, imperfect process of growth and transformation.
Exactly. It's about celebrating our small victories and recognizing that each step forward, no matter how small, is a testament to our commitment to living a more conscious and fulfilling life.
I love that. But if meditation is about cultivating this deep inner peace and stillness, how do we reconcile that with the inevitable challenges and difficulties that life throws our way?
That's a great question. And it brings us back to this idea of mindfulness. It's about developing the ability to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, to witness our experience with a sense of detachment and acceptance.
So it's not about suppressing or denying our feelings, but about creating a space between ourselves and our reactions.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our thoughts and emotions are like waves on the ocean. They come and go, and we don't have to get swept away by every ripple.
I love that analogy. It's like We're learning to surf those waves of emotion, to ride them with skill and grace, rather than being tossed about by the currents.
Precisely. And as we develop this inner stability, we naturally become more resilient to life's ups and downs.
So it's not about becoming immune to challenges or hardships, but about developing the inner resources to navigate them with greater ease and equanimity.
Exactly. And that's the true power of meditation. It's not about escaping from reality, but about transforming our relationship to it.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the paradox of meditation. We've uncovered so much about the challenges and the rewards, the fears and the aspirations that surround this ancient practice.
Yeah, it really has been fascinating to unpack all this. We started off, a bit skeptical.
Yeah.
But exploring these sources with you has shed some light on not only what meditation is, but like WHY. It's so challenging.
Yeah.
And what that difficulty tells us about ourselves.
It is a journey of self-discovery, isn't it? It really is.
A process of uncovering that inner diamond he speaks of, the one that's always been there.
Yeah.
Just waiting to be unearthed.
And from what we've discussed, it seems like the key to unlocking that potential is embracing the paradox itself. We have to acknowledge that fear of letting go.
Yeah.
While also finding the courage to surrender to the unknown.
Absolutely. Transformation isn't a linear process. It's not about reaching some fixed destination. It's about embracing the ongoing journey of growth and evolution.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with one final question for you, dear listener.
Yeah.
If meditation is about stripping away the layers of who you think you are, what might you discover underneath? What does it mean to live a life driven by that pure longing we talked about? A life unburdened by the need to grasp, to control, to define yourself by external measures?
It's a powerful question, and it's one that each of us must answer for ourselves. The beauty of this exploration is that the answers aren't found in any book or teaching, but in the depths of our own experience.
I love that. So much of what we've talked about today points back to that core idea, turning inward, exploring those deeper layers of ourselves.
And who knows what we might discover as we delve deeper into the mysteries of the self and tap into the boundless potential that lies within each of us.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for diving into this with me and helping us explore the paradox of meditation.
It's been a pleasure.
And to you, dear listener, we encourage you to keep exploring the world of meditation, to experiment with different practices, find what resonates with you. Remember, you're not alone on this journey.
Until next time, keep diving, keep exploring, and keep seeking those moments of stillness and clarity that reveal the true essence of who you are.
Please like, share, and subscribe.